Okay, welcome to the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter study group. This is November 2021. Today is the 16th of November. This is our 13th class. Our mission for the Florida IIBA Tampa Bay chapter is to bridge the gap between industry leaders and business analysts by building partnerships with professionals, educators, and employers so that we may empower, instruct, and engage the Tampa Bay IT community. This chapter actually works on all of North Florida as well as people from anywhere else in the world. So if you're interested in being a member of our chapter, go ahead and join us at the IIBA. Just notify them that you are a member of the Tampa Bay chapter, and the small percentage of your fee would go to us and allow us to do things that benefit the community and our chapter members. We have a variety of ways to contact our chapter or to communicate with other people in the association. We have a website, Meetup, Facebook, and we have 2 different LinkedIn options. Our chapter is led by our board. Elections are coming up soon, and if you're interested, we would love to have you join us. Some of these people have been serving for a couple of years, and they have done their turn. So we need other people to step up. Cliff is online with us. He is our president. Lori is our vice president of finance. Caitlin and Priscilla are our members at large. They lean in whenever they have opportunity. I am the vice president of career professional development, and I am a board member as well. My cohort in crime for this study group is Tiffany Gardner. She works at what company? You're on mute.
WellCare, now called Centene.
WellCare, now called Centene. Thank you very much. You can contact Tiffany or myself through our LinkedIn profiles. LinkedIn is the best way to contact me because my Facebook and my email just are too busy. So professional stuff stays in LinkedIn for me. We are also joined by Bob Churchill. He is our CBAP certified person. He has passed his CBAP certification, and so he's here to answer questions, help us figure out what makes sense. And he is also here because with him here, we get credit, education credit for this hour together. Let's see who is here with us. We've got our regulars that we adore. Yulia is here. Cliff is here. Tiffany is here. Bob is here. I am here. Who else is online? Can you tell me, please?
Ilya.
Oh, yeah, it's here.
Okay, good. Love it.
Here.
Sid
here.
I don't know that name. I'm sorry. Where are we?
Sid. You're the 4th one down.
Yeah.
4th one down. Thank you. I'm sorry. I heard Liz and I'm like, I don't see a Liz. Okay. Anybody else online? Okay, we'll go on. This is our 13th meeting. We will not be having a meeting next Tuesday, being the week of Thanksgiving. Then we will resume through the end of the year for 4 more weeks, not having a meeting on the last week of the year. Watermark has extended our subscription to the exam for throughout all of next year. So we can continue to use it as a community. So that will be beneficial for us should we need to. Our scores have not been fantastic, but you know, for the first time going through it, they've not been really embarrassing either. Let's see, we did strategy analysis. This week, we are going to go to a different chapter. Before I go there, we will have about 16 hours of education credit coming out of this class for those of you who have tried to be here for all of the sessions so far this year. You know that that's only about half of what you need to take the CBAP certification test. You have to have, what is it, Bob, 35 hours?
Yep.
Okay, so there are a couple of different ways you can get that. You can participate in other study groups, you can participate in our lunch and learns, or you can enroll in an education course. The IIBA, the International Institute of Business Analysis, has a select group of education providers that they've endorsed. These are people that have worked with the IIBA to prove that they will provide the type of education and the material that the IIBA says is acceptable. One of them is this one right here, and I'll be glad to forward this email to you should you wish it. It's 35 hours of instructor-led training. They've got 25 hours of self-paced videos. It does give you the 35 PDUs and CDUs that you would want. They've got 3 classes starting, 2 in October, 1 in November. These classes are 6 hours a weekend, 3 hours on Saturday and 3 hours on Sunday, and it lasts for 6 weeks. I don't know anything else about this company except they called me today and they said the class is a $5.99 value. They're offering it to our members for $250. Bob, can you give us a spiel on the company that you used whenever you took the class?
I used a company called Adaptive US. They advertise all over the IIBA site. They're easy to find. Their customer service is beyond reproach. Their training is really good. They work the same way, at least for the CBAP classes, 2 days each weekend over a little while for 3 or 4 hours a day. It's a lot of group participation with people from all over the world, and there's tons of good materials on their website in general. They often have discounts, and I have a code where you can get a further discount. So ask me about that if you're interested. It is more expensive, however, they send you books, they pay your exam fees, and a few other things. So I think I spent like $2,000 on the whole thing, but man, it was done, and it was straightforward.
Excellent. Watermark, the company that I paid for the subscription and then they extended it for us. They are also offering all of our people 20% discount on any of their certification or courses or self-study materials. So those are some options for you. Let's get into this. Yulia, tell us again which chapter we're working on this week. Isn't it requirements analysis?
Yes, this one.
Thank you. We're going to begin a new exam. Okay, Genevieve and her team of business analysts are in the process of ensuring that all requirements align to the business need and that the design satisfies the requirements. They find it difficult to validate the design against the requirements. What would be the problem? The elicitation results must have been gathered by a different business analyst. This would be a result of scope creep. The business analyst did not invite all the downstream stakeholders who would understand the design better, or the requirement might be missing or incorrectly specified, or the design might not be right. So the design versus the requirements is not lining up.
I'm gonna go with D.
As in boy?
No, it's in dog.
D is in dog. Okay, we got 1 vote for D. Anybody else?
I like D.
Yeah, I do too. That would cause the result.
That would? Okay. The design cannot be validated to support a requirement. There might be missing or misunderstood requirement, or the design must change. Very good, guys.
This is why you do requirements traceability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
this is a good example of looking at the answers and being like, okay, which one of these just absolutely just we know is just not right. So okay, B automatically took that out. And then C, I'm like, the BABOK wouldn't mention talking about a best answer, didn't invite all the downstream stakeholders to understand design better. And I was like, A, nah, I don't like that either. So that's why I went with D, because D just sounded to me, it answered the question of there's probably something missing, or the design just wasn't documented right.
Yep, very good. We're at 100%, guys. Let's go. Julian is a VA working on a project to create a new subscription management system for Nord-Ost magazines. The team has developed the data and navigation to handle the various entities and states in the diagrams below. The application can accept new and trial subscriptions, process payments, and inactivate subscriptions. During the current iteration of the effort, Julian is sensing that the team is missing some key requirements. So we've got 3 questions. First one, which state is Julian missing in the models for this situation? We've got requester new paid subscription, requester trial subscription. There's a pending subscription. There is a active subscription. There's inactivate subscription. So I'm sorry, let's go back to the original list so we can check it against the list. He's got accept new and trial subscriptions, process payments, and activate subscriptions. Do y'all see process payments on there?
Scroll back up a little bit.
I don't see.
Okay.
I see payment approved.
Yeah, but I see it all
That's
for
not
requesting a new
process.
paid.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
nothing about
Yeah, it's missing
processing.
the processing the payment.
Yeah. So let's see.
Man, there gonna be questions like this on this test too.
Uh-huh. So we've got former subscription, canceled subscription, suspended subscription, or rejected subscription. Those are our options.
All right, so go back.
I don't
All right.
remember rejected subscription.
I see pending. Does anyone see former? Say former subscription, which is implied in the diagram.
Former
Inactive.
is inactive.
Oh,
That would be right.
okay.
You know,
Active
D
subscription.
is an answer, but it's not really a requirement listed at the top either.
Not being approved. Wait, what happens if a payment is rejected? Is that up there? I see if it's approved, activate.
I don't see rejected anywhere.
No,
I see trial, lapse, cancel, which is a valid state for any subscription. I don't like this question.
Well, sorry.
There. You never find a question on the exam that is this bad. You'll find them this complicated, not this bad though.
I'm gonna go with C, suspended. Because there's not, I don't see anything about it says when a payment is not approved. I see when a payment is approved and you activate. And we just determined that former could be for inactive.
Why don't we try all the answers and see what they say for themselves? But
Okay.
unlike C is a place to start.
Okay, let's do that. Well. how
this
do I
question's
submit
too
this?
big for the screen.
Right, you gotta slide up or something.
Let me. Where is my
Uh-oh.
button that says? Here, let's check answer. And then let's scroll back down. Okay, so the correct answer is rejected subscription because of payment not being approved. The trigger payment method implies that not all payments are accepted. Plus, the payment accepted attribute in the payment entity hints at this. How the entity changes or transitions from one state to another could be determined by the steps of the process, by the business rules, or by the information content according to BABOK 10.4.4.2.
Aren't we in chapter 7? Why do they keep taking us to chapter 10?
Well, 10 is the context, I think.
I tell you what, I've got it open here. Come on. State modeling, its techniques. So
Yeah.
we just looked at a state model, and that's why it's talking about how the state model should be translated.
Mm.
I think that's a poorly constructed state model also.
Would you like for me to flag this?
Yeah. They
Okay.
need to include a lot more stuff. I don't know how anyone ever makes working software without me. And Cliff.
Of course, you and Cliff, y'all are the dream team. Tiffany, you and I, we're the ones that make it happen, but we'll give them the credit. Let's go on. Oh, sorry, I jumped over it.
Oh,
This
there's
is
more questions. There's 3 questions for this thing.
There's 3 questions for it. Julian
Oh,
has
crap.
discovered that Julian has discovered the subscription management staff frequently changes addresses for customers who have 2 residences. To facilitate address changes, they would like to allow saving an alternate address for a subscription. How should Julian handle this? Add a separate address entity and tie to an individual in a one-to-many relationship. Add attributes to the individual entity to permit saving an alternate address. Reject the request since there's only one address allowed per subscription, or consult with the implementation SME such as a database analyst on how to handle this. Well, I hate C
Yeah,
because
I like
Julian
B as in
is the one
boy.
making the rules.
I like D because I'd be that SME, but B is probably the best answer I see.
Well,
like A also.
but Julian needs to be talking to the people that are writing the program, not trying to figure out how they should write the program.
I disagree.
You haven't met some of
Solving
our
the
team people that work
problem
here.
abstractly is within the purview of the BA and the designers. So
Okay.
what you're doing is solving the problem abstractly before it ever gets to the programmers. That said, the programmers could also be part of the design team to add extra input and ideas if the BAs don't have enough experience.
Right, and that's
always-
something that we've done, like, and Sid can attest to this, for a lot of times as we're learning our markets with some of our reporting, there's a state that may ask for certain fields for a report, and then we get another state and they're like asking for a similar, but they're missing fields that we know would help them with their reporting. You didn't ask for these fields, but we're going to suggest that you also add these in for later down the road. This is something that you're probably going to need, and it turns out they do end up needing it. So I can see that standpoint of actually giving directions like this to developers, hey, just thinking ahead.
Mm-hmm. I like to have the people doing the job tell me what is possible and what is not possible, because sometimes, you know, Clifford will attest, they know what they're doing. They're the ones with boots on the ground.
Well, I can
Okay,
tell you
so-
from a Dynamics or a Zora relationship, those are CRM softwares and subscription softwares. A would be the right answer because the address is kept in a separate table and you could have multiple addresses relate back to, per se, an account or a contact. Whether that's the right answer or not, I have no idea, but that's how
the
I would
way
do it.
I do it too, simply because it's the most flexible and modular.
So that's the
Yes.
way we would do it in the real world. What is the BABOK? What would the BABOK say is the truth?
I'm gonna go with B as in boy.
And what does watermark says, say the BABOK says?
We'll find out. Check answer.
Apparently,
They
oh,
say Cliff was right. This will offer the most flexibility and most closely match the requirements of subscription management staff. Isn't that the word you used? That's awesome. B
Go
is
Cliff.
incorrect because it's a potential solution, but not the most flexible. They never said the most flexible, did they?
no.
No,
That wasn't part of
that's
the
one
question.
of many
It's an
reasons
assumption.
this is not a good question.
I'll
See, now
flag
this
that.
is an example of a question to where literally project experience would help you answer this question.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm
True.
on a project right now that uses a software called Zora to manage subscriptions for AutoZone.
Mhm.
In particular, right now I'm on a project that does that. That's why that came to mind. It's like, yep, we do that.
That's awesome. Okay. Overall, what major functionality would you say is missing from the requirements as they are modeled? The ability to capture email marketing permissions from subscribers, which legally is a requirement now. Renewing an active subscription, suspending a subscription, or validating a credit card payment for submissions. Let's go back and look at it.
Okay. So we got request new pay, approve, activate. Does anyone
Here's-
see renew?
Yeah, there's no renew.
I don't
There's
see,
a-
where's the validating a credit card? Okay,
This
that
is
the payment
activate.
approved?
Well, the payment approved would be validating the credit card, right?
Well, I guess we guess.
I guess we'll have to assume that.
Do you see anything about capturing email?
No.
There's nothing about email in this entire question or anywhere in the documentation so far.
Okay, so that's two answers right there that are like, okay, so now we gotta go with what's implied. I definitely don't see anything about an email.
I don't
I
either.
guess we imply that there is something for renewing. Scroll up a little bit in the diagram. There's
Here's a
registered.
trial
request new
subscription,
pay.
a new paid subscription. There's nothing about renewing.
Yeah. If you already have one, there's nothing to check it.
We do have subscription lapses or inactivate, so that would be suspending.
Hmm.
Is B the answer?
I don't see anything about, it says what's missing. So ability to capture email marketing permission from subscribe, okay. But wait.
And
Is
be
capturing
both.
email marketing an actual requirement though?
We have major functionality. I think renewing an active subscription is more major than capture email marketing permission.
Yeah, and I don't think capturing email marketing was a requirement that was mentioned.
It hasn't been mentioned.
So
Julia,
it
what do
must
you
be
think?
B.
Okay, let's try B.
And hey,
Drum roll. Man. B, the renewal number
Yay.
attribute hints this. Good
What?
job.
what renewal number attribute? Okay.
There's thing we're not seeing. So that's part of what's happening. They reference a code that they're not showing us.
Gotcha. The data dictionary contains two types of data elements. What are they? Univariable and multivariable, simple and complex, primitive and composite, or primitive and advanced? Okay, Cliff, we need you.
I've
I'm
never
like-
even heard of these.
Me neither.
I mean, maybe I'm too deep in the weeds. I'm thinking varchar, date time, text.
A data
Integers.
dictionary-
Primitive and composite is the answer, and that's a pure BABOK thing. And
I was
if
like,
they
it sounds
cast
familiar,
it
but I couldn't
on
figure out
that,
why.
they're not.
Primitive and composite, I think is what he said, right? See?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what's actually in the book.
that's what's actually in the book.
Okay, timeout. Now I know we picked chapter 7.
I
but
know
we
we
keep
did.
getting chapter 10 answers.
Yeah,
Now,
but chapter 10 is I don't know. You want to let's start it over and go to
no,
chapter
we
7?
we going down this rabbit hole. So let's keep going and see what chapter we
But,
land on next.
That's why I keep telling you guys, I hear from the way you analyze this stuff, you know it pretty well. So you're doing better than this exam tells you you are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep telling us that, and if it comes true when we take the test, we'll believe you. Which one of the following is not an element of analyze potential value and recommend solution task? The expected benefits, expected outcome, determined value, or expected cost? I think expected benefits and expected outcome are very similar, don't you think?
Yeah, they talk, I think it's B boy, because they talked about benefits, they talk about costs. Yeah, but I don't remember that they would use outcome.
Benefits and
Benefits
value.
minus cost is the value, so I think Julia is killing it here.
She always does. All right.
Hey,
Expected outcome is not one of the elements. The other ones are assess design options and recommend solutions. Very good. Out of chapter 7. Okay, the number of occurrences in one entity in a data model is that they are linked to a second entity and called what? Numeralities, attributes, cardinalities, or associations. So this is the number of occurrences. Cardinality is number, right?
Cardinality is ordinal versus cardinal is ranking versus setting values for each one independently, and it's a big thing in economics, but I don't think that's the answer to this.
No, I
Okay.
think it's D, associations.
Yeah,
I
I'm
agree.
I'm thinking too.
Okay, let's check it.
mm,
Okay. Cardinality
crap.
refers to the minimum and maximum number of occurrences which the entity may be related. Associations indicate how the entity and the data model relate to other entities and how.
wow, that was a tricky one.
I remember writing that one, so I'm good.
Uh,
What techniques are used to validate requirements? Metrics and key performance indicators, financial analysis, business capability analysis, or acceptance and evaluation criteria, item tracking and reviews, or acceptance and evaluation criteria, financial analysis and workshops, or acceptance and evaluation criteria, metrics and key performance indicators and workshops. So we're talking about techniques. Are any of these not techniques?
I think A is not.
Okay, we can knock A out of the running.
Yes, because financial analysis is really not a technique, right?
Right.
Except,
I know workshops are a technique.
So D.
I'm thinking D too.
D is in dog.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Let's try
They're
it.
all things that
Damn. I started to go with B. What?
I'm sorry, I misled you then. Workshops are not for this task. It is a technique though. So BABOK 7.3.6, let's go look at it.
hey, there was a 7 question.
Yeah, it's been 2 out of how many we doing now?
By the way, while you're looking that up, cardinal is how many of something there are in an absolute sense. Ordinal is the order they're in, which is a different kind of evaluation.
Okay, good to know. 7.3.6 techniques. These are the techniques: acceptance evaluation criteria, document analysis, financial analysis, item tracking,
Oh.
metrics and key performance indicators or KPIs, reviews, and risk analysis management.
So
So these
financial
are-
analyst isn't a technique? Wow.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Wait a minute, go
Okay.
back to that question.
Techniques used to validate requirements.
Okay, so yeah, so the other ones were financial analysts, whereas they weren't tech, okay, all right. But if financial analysis had been on B, it still would have been fine, okay.
Yep. Okay. Which of the following is not true about business rules? Business rules shape day-to-day business behavior. Business rules guide operational business decision-making. Business rules are exclusively expressed and managed through implementation technology for a given solution. And business rules changes can be implemented quickly if they're managed by a single enterprise-wide engine.
C.
C.
Yeah,
Did I
me
do
too.
C and D?
And D is not, because I think there was an BABOK that it's good. It can be quickly changed when they manage through a single enterprise-wide engine, like centrally.
Okay. So Sid, you're saying that's the reason you think it's D?
No, I
Yeah,
think it's C.
Oh, it's not true. I'm
it's
sorry.
not true.
Thank you.
It's not true. So this is true, right? Changes
well,
can
what
be
if I-
implemented quickly. When
Okay.
not true.
This one is true. We know this one is true. I'm pretty sure this one's true, so I think it's C. Does anyone disagree? Okay, let's try it. Business rules should be expressed and managed independently of implementation technology, of course.
Again, solve the
After 10.
problem abstractly, then implement.
Yes. Did someone else have something to say?
I was just saying chapter 10 question.
Thank you.
No problem.
A junior business analyst is modeling requirements in order to identify and validate inputs and outputs of the solution she is modeling. She approaches James, a senior BA, for advice. What modeling technique would James advise the junior BA to use to model requirements in order to identify and validate inputs and outputs of the solution? An interface analysis, a Kano analysis, prototyping, or process modeling?
I'm going with process modeling.
My favorite, but it's not correct. Process modeling is used to show the steps or activities that are performed in the organization, but not used to validate inputs and outputs to the solution. But I would use a process model, but
Use it
we're
all the
talking-
time. That's
we're
what we
talking-
do.
You know what? You're probably creating an interface analysis, which is the same thing as a process model in some situations.
No, they're not. Their process model is the logic of the whole thing. And interface analysis is a limited subset of the process model.
Okay.
So it's only the part when you're exchanging data with other processes or users.
Can we go to 716, please? Because I want to see, because
Sure.
I hear what Bob is saying, and I guess because in my mind, this is what I do a lot. I do process flows in Visio to show where data is coming in from external databases, when there's a script involved, manual, all that type of thing. So in my mind, I was like, ooh, process model.
You're calling it a process model, but because it's limited, it's probably an interface
Well,
analysis,
no,
right?
I think she's doing a process model, but the process model has all of the calculation and processing steps in it. Only some of the elements around the edges where it's talking to external entities would be the interface model. And that's not just a user interface. That's an interface with any other external entity, a microservice, a database, a user, an internet system, anything.
And it says it right there. So what I've been calling a process model is actually interface analysis. So that's exactly what I do is I validate the inputs and outputs and show the flow so I can show and make sure this is what you're expecting.
I still think, Tiffany, you're doing a process model that happens to include all the interfaces, but it's not only the interfaces.
Right, okay.
So interface analysis is limited to just the interfaces. Bob, I've sometimes seen interface analysis called a context diagram. That's not the right word.
I would
To understand the
have to-
scope, right? Then you,
Yeah, just to see what entities are being included, and you see the connections, the handoffs between the different entities.
Yeah, I'd have to look at that. Think more about what context diagram actually is and means. I use the word context a lot, but not necessarily the way the BABOK does. So I can't be super helpful right now about that.
Okay, next one. You have interviewed key stakeholders to uncover their business needs. You become aware of many factors that the stakeholders think are true, but which have not yet been verified. You decide to document which of the following: the constraints, the requirements, the to-be processes, or the assumptions.
Assumptions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
assumptions.
Slam dunk. Assumptions are factors
Yeah.
that are believed to be true and have not been confirmed to be accurate, or that could be true, but may not be in the future. One of the things about assumptions is they're often not even talked about. Literally, they just become part of the belief system. And so it's hard to get people to talk about them. Which of the following stakeholders are included in the task verify requirements? The business analysts, the domain subject matter experts, the developers, and the architects. Business analysts, domain subject matter experts, developers, and testers. Business analysts, domain subject matter experts, architects, testers, or all stakeholders.
D, doc.
I go with that.
Okay, let's check it. Correct.
Hey.
Good job. Chapter 7. The lead business analyst and our team have completed an event that ensures the requirements and design specifications and models meet quality standards. They now want to ensure that the stakeholders' desired future states will be achieved. What questions would the team be asking? What were the right stakeholders involved? Was the right solution built? Were the right requirements stated, or were the requirements stated right? They want to ensure that the stakeholders' desired future state will be achieved.
I would say D. Eh,
I've got 1D. Anybody have a different one or agree?
All those could be valid.
I
for
think so.
ensuring the requirements and design specifications and models meet quality standards. They now want to ensure the stakeholders' desired future state will be achieved.
All right, actually, let's look at the second clause there. Then ensure the requirements and design specs and models meet quality standards. So that would be D.
But now they want to ensure that the stakeholders' desired future state will be achieved.
Yeah, but
For future state, because they haven't built anything yet, so
okay, right. Yeah, sounds like C actually. The first sentence hints at D, but if you're going to do the
yeah.
second part, that'd be C. And again, that's a verification versus validation. So verification is, does what you built work, or the requirements stated accurately? And validation is, did you build the right thing and did you identify the right requirements?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, so I agree with C.
Okay. The questions answered by validation ensures that the stakeholders' desired future state is achieved, which is what the team wants to do. Awesome.
Tiffany, good work.
Thank you.
What are all the inputs to the defined requirements architecture task? Information management approach, requirements, any state, solution scope. Information management system, requirements, any state, solution scope. Information management approach, requirements traced, solution scope, or information management systems, requirements traced, solution scope. So first of all, is it approach or system?
Approach. I think
Okay.
it's
So the only difference between A and C is
yeah.
this is requirements traced. That's requirements any state.
Any state.
You want any state?
I vote for A. Yeah.
The answer is these are the inputs for this task. Information management approach, requirements any state, and solution scope. Very good. As a business analyst, you are given the following elicitation information. The database shall support the generation and control of configuration objects, and the objects are themselves groupings of other objects in the database. Why would decomposing the above information be critical? I think we missed a word there. Information decomposition would prove that the business analyst is well experienced, and this would give the stakeholders confidence. That could be true. Information decomposition does away with all the assumptions as it is done on the actual project. Information decomposition should be avoided as it takes more time and may lead to project delay. And information decomposition would help identify anything that must change or not change to meet the business need or any missing components.
I like D.
Any other votes or any agreements? Okay, we got one agreement. Let's go. It is correct. 7.1.4.2. We got it. Which of the following statements is true about specifying and modeling requirements? Business requirements must be specified and modeled before any other type of requirement. Different types of requirements might be specified and modeled at the same time. Only stakeholder requirements and solution requirements can be specified at the same time. And transition requirements are always specified and modeled last.
Jeez.
Got one A. What else?
B.
Got one B. Anything else?
D.
D. Thank you. Okay. Got two D's. And D isn't right. B is right. Elicitation results contain information of different types, so it's natural to expect that different types of requirements might be specified at the same time.
That's also true.
It is also true. Elicitation results contain information of different types, so it's natural to expect that's the same answer. Okay. Which of the following data models is typically used by implementation subject matter experts to describe how a database is physically organized? Multivariable data model, logical data model, physical data model, or conceptual data model?
I'm gonna go with C.
Physical, possibly.
C.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with C.
Okay, two answers. It is correct. Geeson is analyzing and refining the elicitation results into requirements. He wants to use the technique that will help his stakeholders or customers describe the goal they want to accomplish when using the solution. What technique would Geeson use? Is that how to pronounce that name? Anybody know?
No idea.
If you've ever found anybody with this name, have them come talk to me because I want to know. modeling, scope modeling, use cases and scenarios, or user stories to describe the goal they want to accomplish when using the solution.
User stories.
Yeah, but remember, that's an agile thing, isn't it?
There's
Or
as
see
I
it
said, all
agile.
through the BABOK. Use cases are typically more waterfall or more developer focused, but they're not necessarily not agile. Let's try D.
Okay.
The customer writes the user stories because he is the best position to know the goal they want to accomplish. So user stories are about the goal. That's why you have the so that statement in the user story.
Mm.
And those can be at the level of detailed things within the implementation. They can also address actual business goals and result requirements. So you as a BA have to be sensitive to that.
I agree. Carla and her team have identified and defined the potential value for 3 design options. What is their logical next step? Analyze each option's potential value and ultimately recommend a solution. Determine whether to make or buy. Model the design options so they are readily understood by the architect and development team, or assess potential vendors. They've identified and defined solutions. They haven't done any comparisons.
Yeah,
I think-
yes, they need to analyze it.
Yeah, I agree.
Eh?
I agree. We've got 2 votes for A. Let's do A.
Okay.
Correct. Good job. Carmen has been hired as a senior business analyst for an ongoing effort. Initial elicitation activities have been done, but she is now determining the best way to transform and represent the elicitation results into requirements in order to define the change. What would Carmen consider when modeling the requirements? Context, audience, and purpose. Purpose, change, and context. Change, need, and context. Or solution, audience, and value.
See?
As in boy,
C2.
No, C is in cat.
C is
Yeah.
in cat. Okay, we got 2 C's. Let's go.
Ooh.
The correct answer is context, audience, and purpose. The form, the level of detail, and what is being modeled are all dependent on the context, audience, and purpose. I think audience is important because you've got to be sure that who you're creating the requirements for is understood by the audience. And your audience may be business people that are not technical or business people that are very technical, and as well as your developers and your architect and your testers and everybody else.
Okay.
Jonathan is the business analyst on an effort that is validating requirements. Which one of the following activities would Jonathan not be performing? Define measurable evaluation criteria, evaluate alignment with solution scope, identify assumptions, or identify solution validation criteria.
D,
Oh.
identify assumptions.
Yeah, C stand
C.
out.
Let's check it.
Oh,
The correct answer is identify solution validation criteria.
Interesting.
I'd have gone with that.
That is not, there's no such thing as solution validation criteria. You know what?
That's
I didn't-
ridiculous. There absolutely is.
I was about to say.
I'm flagging it.
But that's the
Wait, so that
one
is an
you
actual
do
term?
at the end. Once you that's like final testing and V&V. So it that is downstream of anything you do with the requirement. And assumptions is absolutely part of requirements.
All right.
Technically, it's part of the conceptual model, the way I think about it.
I flagged it for you, Bob. Anna has assembled a team to define design options. What inputs will they need to accomplish this task? validated and prioritized requirements, change strategy, enterprise architecture, validated and prioritized requirements, change strategy and requirements architecture, traced requirements, change strategy and enterprise architecture, or traced requirements, change strategy and requirements architecture.
B, boy.
Why do you like validated and prioritized over traced?
Well, I remember very clearly that it must be prioritized when we define design options. So they speak about it. very
Let's check
strongly.
it. You are correct. Validated and prioritized requirements, change strategy, and correct and requirements architecture. Good job. Again, Susan thinks she is done with her requirements analysis on a project. Her project manager sent her a terse email telling her she is not done yet. He also sent her the business objectives and potential value to the project and asked her to complete one more important task to ensure the requirements support the business case. What activity does Susan need to complete other than smacking her PM? Identify any missing or incorrect requirements, requirement validation, requirement verification, or obtain approval of the requirements.
So he sent her the business objectives and the potential value for the project. And it says a task to ensure the requirements support the business case. So would that be requirements validation?
Yeah.
Let's
I
find
think
out.
it's verification.
So we got a B and we got a C.
We got a B and we got a C. Somebody else got a vote.
Hold on. Potential value, business objective. I think it's B, validation.
Okay, let's find out. Requirements validation helps ensure that the requirements provide business value and meet business needs. So validation is value. What is the purpose of the specify and model requirements task? To fit the individual models and specifications together to ensure all the requirements form a single whole, to analyze, synthesize, and refine elicitation results into the requirements and designs, to ensure the requirements and design specifications and models meet quality standards and are usable for the purpose they serve, or to ensure that all requirements and designs align to the business requirements and support the delivery of needed value.
I'm gonna go with B.
B.
2 votes, let's go. This is the stated purpose of this task. Good job. Okay, 25 of 25. Which of the following subset best describes the characteristics of requirements and design quality? Atomic, testable, consistent, feasible, complete, and understandable. Unambiguous, complete, feasible, standardized, and testable. Atomic, testable, consistent, defined, complete, and understandable. Or testable, verified, unambiguous, concise, and prioritized.
C, Cat.
And well, you said C?
Mm-hmm.
Feasible, they should be feasible. A.
I mean, it's A or C. This is 100%. I think.
Okay.
Like a,
Let's try with realizing,
Yeah.
y'all did it.
Okay.
Yay. Okay, submit exam. View results. We got 68%, guys.
Dang, I was hoping we do better than that.
that's actually pretty good given those questions.
Okay. If anyone is currently looking for a position, I've had several recruiters reach out to me. I can forward emails to you. Just send me your information through LinkedIn and I'll be glad to do that. Anything else, guys?
No.
Requirements, analysis, and design definition is what we just finished. Okay, we will be here in 2 weeks to do this one more time. let me ask you that if you're going to study for this, study this chapter as well as chapters 11, 10, and 11, so you get the requirements and the definitions. I think that's the right way to say it. And we
I
will.
think it's like half of a book, chapter 10 and 11.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think so.
Like study this chapter and chapter 10 too while you at it.
Yeah,
It's
just
literally
really-
half of a
Not
book.
really that complicated once you understand what they all are.
I agree.
11's a little more complicated, but if you can form a kind of procedural summary view in your head of what they all are, that becomes pretty easy also.
I agree. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Next time we do this study group, we might start with chapter 11 just to give us a basis to go from. Have a great Thanksgiving. I'll see you in 2 weeks, and we will keep pushing forward together.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks,
See you guys
everybody.
later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.